You know a state is rotten when it needs an actual propaganda department just to sell its existence. Not diplomacy, not policy, literal narrative management with its own ministries, line items, and paid influencers shipped around the world to convince you that bombing kids is complicated. Israel doesn't just have spokespeople, it has a whole architecture dedicated to propaganda. The Prime Minister's office, the Foreign Ministry, the IDF spokespersons, lobby groups, civil society fronts, campus programs, the whole package, all synced up to push the same story. And that story is always the same. Israel's the eternal victim, Palestinians are the eternal threat, and if you disagree, you're misinformed, anti-Semitic, or both. Hasbara is a Hebrew word that literally means explanation, which sounds harmless until you realize it's basically a polite word for propaganda. In practice, Hasbara is Israel's public diplomacy machine, the state and its allies pumping out messages across TV, newspapers, social media, cultural events, and education to shape how foreigners think about Israel and Palestine. The goal isn't to inform you, it's to manage your perception. Hasbara is about framing, what words get used, what images you see, what context gets hidden, and what questions you never even think to ask because the narrative you're given is already pre-cooked and sanitized. Hasbara has one core mission: make Israel look like a tiny, besieged victim and make Palestinians look like a danger you're morally obligated to suppress. That's why every massacre becomes regretful collateral damage, every bombed hospital becomes a Hamas base, and every call for Palestinian freedom is smeared as extremism. And it works through three main tricks that researchers and critics keep pointing out: discredit the truth, reduce the truth, and warp the truth. When they discredit the truth, they question every testimony, every video, every human rights report about Israeli crimes as fake news or terrorist propaganda. Reducing the truth means they strip events of context. No occupation, no siege, no apartheid, just terrorists and security. And when they warp the truth, they just push outright false narratives like claiming Palestinians bombed themselves, and then they quietly walk it back after the headline has already done its job. Hasbara is not some random unpaid Twitter guy with a flag in his bio. It's institutional. It includes government units, the IDF spokesperson, the Prime Minister's media team, and the Foreign Ministry all run coordinated messaging for foreign audiences. Then you have non-government fronts, lobby groups, NGOs, think tanks, campus networks, and grassroots coalitions that just happen to echo the state line and often get funding or direction from it. And then there's Hasbara fellowships. Israel literally offers fellowships and training to turn students, influencers, and community figures into polished pro-Israel advocates. They also target specific arenas, foreign media, diplomats, universities, and social platforms with tailored talking points for each. That's why you see the exact same language: the most moral army, no partner for peace, human shield, repeated by officials, op-ed writers, lobbyists, and random campus speakers like they're all reading from the same fucking Google Doc. And this isn't just ideological, it's financial. Israel is now openly throwing massive money at Hasbara. Foreign Ministry's budget for public diplomacy, again, that's Hasbara, has been boosted to around $150 million for 2025, more than 20 times higher than before the current Gaza genocide. Officials say exactly what that money is for: media campaigns abroad, social media operations, PR on foreign campuses, influencer collaborations, and consciousness warfare to shape how people think about the conflict. So while Palestinians are being displaced and bombed, Israel's building a wartime PR budget that could fund entire hospitals, schools, or aid programs. But instead it funds this bullshit. And that's just what they acknowledge. Add on semi-private foundations, foreign lobbying outfits, think tanks, and information campaigns abroad, and you're looking at a propaganda ecosystem backed by serious money and political muscle. Hasbara doesn't just tell you what to think, it decides what you're even allowed to talk about. In mainstream Western media, it pushes for language like clashes instead of state violence, disputed territory instead of occupied land, its security banner instead of apartheid wall. On campuses and in politics, it tries to reframe solidarity with Palestine as bigotry, pushing policies that equate anti-Zionism with anti-Semitism to shut down criticism. Online, it floods platforms with coordinated talking points and bot-like accounts to drown out reports from bombed neighborhoods and human rights groups. The point is not just to make you pro-Israel, it's to make you unsure, confused, and hesitant to speak. If every video of a destroyed home comes with 5 talking heads saying that's fake or context missing, a lot of people just check out and go neutral, and neutrality always defaults to the side with the tanks. But here's the thing: if Hasbara worked perfectly, Israel wouldn't be panicking and multiplying its propaganda budget by 20. Polling across multiple countries shows that global sympathy, especially among younger people, is shifting hard towards Palestinians as they watch Gaza get flattened in real time. Even some pro-Israel analysts admit that the old Hasbara playbook is not moving the needle like it used to, and that Israel's image is collapsing in many parts of the world. And yeah, when you have live-streamed war crimes, piles of human rights reports calling out apartheid and potential genocide, and a whole generation learning politics from raw footage instead of sanitized cable news, the spin starts to look pathetic. So yeah, the fact that Israel's scrambling to pour tens of millions into new PR campaigns is not a sign of strength, it's a sign of desperation. You don't buy a bigger fire hose unless you feel the fire getting out of control. Now, beating Hasbara doesn't require a government, it requires discipline and receipts. Learn the playbook. Once you recognize the standard lines, no partner for peace, most moral army, human shields, you can call them out in real time and dismantle them with facts. Then flood them with evidence. Share reports from human rights organizations, UN agencies, and independent journalists documenting occupation, apartheid, and mass civilian harm. Always pair your anger with sources people can click. And then refuse the framing. Don't let conversations start at, did Israel go too far? Start at, why is there an occupation, a blockade, and a system human rights groups describe as apartheid in the first place? On platforms like YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, that means putting sources on screen, debunking viral Hasbara claims, boosting Palestinian voices, and making it socially embarrassing to repeat lazy propaganda lines without doing the reading. The more the visible gap between the polished narrative and the bodies on the ground, the more Hasbara backfires. Any regime can lie, but a state that needs a permanent, well-funded propaganda industry just to justify its treatment of another people is telling on itself. If your system was just, you wouldn't need a $150 million PR shield to protect it from reality. You'd let the facts speak. Hasbara is not a cute media strategy. It's part of the machine that makes mass displacement, siege, and systematic violence politically survivable in the West. You don't bomb a trapped population and then, oops, better hire some influencers by accident. That's a plan. If you're watching this, the job is simple. Don't be the target market. Question the script, follow the money, center the people under the bombs, not the state spending millions to explain why it's actually very complicated.